Hey hello Red Case listeners, welcome back to our channel that discusses true crime stories that really happened around the world. We hope that you are all in good health and kept. For most people, grandmothers represent warmth, wisdom, and unconditional love, but in a quiet neighborhood in St. Petersburg, Russia, an elderly woman would come to symbolize something far more sinister. Tamara Samsonova was born on April 25, 1947, in the city of Uzhu, in the Krasnoyarsk Krai region of Siberia. Little is known about her early life. Her upbringing wasn't unusual, and her background didn't hint at what she would become later in life. She was intelligent, well-read, and had a passion for literature and language. After graduating from Moscow State Linguistic University, she moved to St. Petersburg, then known as Leningrad, with dreams of building a respectable life. She worked in the hospitality industry, eventually finding a long-term position at the Grand Hotel Europe, one of the most prestigious hotels in St. Petersburg. Colleagues described her as quiet and polite, but as the years went by, something inside Tamara started to fracture. Tamara married a man named Alexei Samsonov. They lived together in a modest apartment at 2 Dmitrova Street, a Soviet-era complex in the Frunzensky district of St. Petersburg. To outsiders, their life appeared stable. But in 2000, after more than 20 years of marriage, Alexei vanished. Tamara told friends and neighbors that he had simply walked out one day and never returned. No one filed a missing persons report. She even went to the police years later to report her husband's disappearance, but by then, it was far too late for any meaningful investigation. It would be many years before authorities would realize the dark truth behind his disappearance. As time passed, Tamara's behavior became increasingly bizarre. Neighbors would report hearing her speak to herself, sometimes in multiple languages, including German and English. She was obsessed with the occult, astrology, and black magic. She kept several mystical books, including one handwritten diary, where she detailed horrifying crimes in code. This diary would later become one of the key pieces of evidence against her. In 2015, at the age of 68, Tamara found herself in a tense living situation. She had taken in an elderly woman, Valentina Ulanova, aged 79, who allowed Tamara to live with her temporarily while her own apartment was undergoing repairs. But the relationship between the two women soured quickly. They argued constantly. Tamara had become overbearing, demanding control over the household. Valentina eventually asked her to leave, but Tamara had other plans. On July 23, 2015, Tamara went to a pharmacy and purchased a sleeping pill called phenazepam, a powerful sedative. Later that night, she prepared Valentina's favorite salad, laced it with a lethal dose of the drug, and served it with a smile. Valentina fell asleep. Tamara then retrieved a large kitchen knife and a hacksaw. She dismembered Valentina's body in the bathroom, cutting her into pieces. Then, calmly and methodically, she packed the remains into plastic bags and carried them outside, dumping them near a local pond, just a few blocks from the apartment. What Tamara didn't realize was that a security camera had recorded her walking out of the building several times, carrying heavy bags. 2 days later, a local resident walking his dog discovered a headless torso stuffed inside a black garbage bag. The police were called. When detectives traced the bag back to its source, all signs pointed to Valentina's apartment. When officers arrived to question Tamara, they found her calm, cooperative, and eerily polite. She confessed almost immediately. "I killed her," she said softly. "I needed the apartment." Police then searched her own apartment, where they found a hidden diary, written in Russian, English, and bits of German. It detailed over a dozen murders, with precise notes about how the bodies were disposed of. The diary contained entries such as, "I killed my tenant Volodya. Cut him into pieces in the bathroom. Packed the parts and scattered them across the city." Another entry read, "I turned him into meat. I boiled his head in a pot. Then I cleaned the tiles with bleach." These weren't just ramblings. Investigators began to realize that Tamara Samsonova was likely a serial killer, one who had been murdering quietly for over 2 decades. After Tamara's shocking confession, the Russian media exploded with the story of the Granny Ripper. Police were stunned by the sheer coldness of her demeanor. She didn't cry. She didn't try to deny it. In fact, she seemed almost relieved. Investigators immediately started reviewing her diary in detail, hoping to uncover how many victims there really were. The first name that stood out was someone she had mentioned in passing, Volodya. Volodya was a male tenant, a friend of the family who had rented a room from Tamara in the early 2000s. According to her diary, Volodya had become a nuisance. He was noisy, left dishes in the sink, and had become disrespectful. Tamara claimed she couldn't take it anymore. She described how she had given him sleeping pills in his dinner, and when he passed out, she dragged him to the bathroom. In her own words, "I cut him into 7 parts. Head, arms, legs. The tiles were hard to clean, but I used bleach. I slept well that night." No official police report had ever been filed about Volodya's disappearance. He had no close family, and neighbors assumed he had moved out. This was Tamara's pattern. She preyed on lonely, vulnerable people, those who wouldn't be missed. As investigators read on, the list of suspected victims grew longer. Some entries were cryptic, others were terrifyingly detailed. June 2003. I killed my guest. Boiled the head. Buried the hands. August 2005. She screamed. I covered her mouth and slit her throat. One thing was clear, Tamara had been killing for years, possibly even decades, and had never once been caught. Forensics teams scoured both Tamara's and Valentina's apartments. They discovered bloodstains on tile grout, behind appliances, and in bathroom drains. DNA tests confirmed the blood belonged to Valentina and 2 other unidentified individuals. Inside Tamara's bathtub, scratches and nicks on the enamel indicated it had been used repeatedly for cutting or hacking. They even found bone fragments in a kitchen drain pipe, and yet, the most disturbing items were not the physical remains, but the books and journals. Tamara owned several books on serial killers, including Andrei Chikatilo, Jeffrey Dahmer, and Albert Fish. She had bookmarked pages about dismemberment, concealment, and psychological profiles. She wasn't just killing, she was studying it. Tamara was ordered to undergo a comprehensive psychiatric assessment. Doctors initially suspected schizophrenia or dementia due to her age and bizarre behavior, but what they found was far more chilling. Tamara was fully aware of her actions. She showed no signs of remorse. She understood right from wrong. She simply didn't care. One doctor noted, she presents with psychopathic traits, no empathy, calculated behavior, and narcissism. She believes her actions are justified. Tamara had even told her doctor, I am haunted. The murders follow me in my dreams. But I had to do it. If I didn't kill, I would be killed. When pressed on that comment, Tamara claimed she was part of a larger spiritual war, one involving black magic and protection spells. She believed killing was her way of surviving. With the new information, police reopened the case of Alexei Samsonov, Tamara's husband who had gone missing in 2000. No body had ever been found, but Tamara's diary contained one haunting line dated that same year. He was the first. He was the hardest. But I had no choice. For years, she had told people Alexei had abandoned her. Now, police believed she had murdered and dismembered him, just like the others. A neighbor recalled a strange smell in the building's trash chute around that time, but never imagined what it might have been. It's likely that Alexei became her first victim, the beginning of a long, dark journey into madness. As the case made headlines, the people of St. Petersburg were horrified. How could a sweet-looking elderly woman, often seen buying milk and smiling at children, be a serial killer? People had walked past her for years, on the street, in the grocery store, even in the elevator, and never once suspected her. Newspapers dubbed her Granny Ripper, Russia's female Chikatilo, the sweet killer. Some compared her to Elizabeth Bathory, Leonida Chanchuli, or even Hannah Shaft. Women in history who hid evil behind domestic normalcy. In court, Tamara remained eerily calm. When asked if she regretted anything, she said, "No. What is done, is done." Tamara was charged with one confirmed murder, that of Valentina. Due to her age and mental health, the court ruled her criminally insane. Instead of prison, she was placed in a psychiatric institution indefinitely. Tamara didn't protest. In fact, she told the judge, "I knew this day would come. I was preparing for it." As of now, she remains in Kazanskaya Psychiatric Hospital, under heavy supervision. Authorities continue to reinvestigate other cold cases, believing she may be responsible for more than 14 murders. But without full confessions or recovered bodies, many of her victims may remain forever unidentified. The story of Tamara Samsonova, the Granny Ripper, is a haunting reminder that evil doesn't always wear a terrifying face. Sometimes, it wears a cozy sweater, it smiles at you in the hallway, it brings you soup when you're sick, and sometimes, it dismembers you while you're asleep. Thank you for watching another episode of Red Case. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video if it shocked you as much as it shocked us. Stay safe, stay alert, and remember, not every killer looks like one.